What's going on? It is Matt Conway here from Sales Scaled. In this video, we're going through how you can build a micro cult-like following on social media. So if you're watching this video, it means that you're an online coach or you're looking to break into the online coaching space. This is a critical element to be able to turn your following into serious cash flow. And we're not talking about like a couple of grand a month. We're talking about 20, 30, 40, 50K a month. And further, you're going to see what I'm about to cover here is really like a big part of the secret sauce behind personal brands like Andrew Tate or Wes Watson. But further, this whole frame that I'm about to show you has been like deeply studied in social science and in psychology. And it is a core piece behind the rise of massive, massive social movements as well as the rise of certain political figures. And we're going to get into exactly how you can model this and implement it in your own business to make 2026 the best year of your business career to date. Okay, so this is all about how you can create a micro cult like following and become the leader that your audience, your ideal clients naturally follows. Okay. So step one here, lesson one, is all about this. It's about vision, leadership, and the vehicle. So when we think about mass movements throughout history, we could be talking about the civil rights movement in the US. We could actually be talking about the civil rights movement in Ireland. Is something that a lot of people don't maybe have context for. Or we could be talking about the Nazi Party in 1930s Germany, or we could be talking about the rise of a figure like Andrew Tate. You'll see that all of these figures, whether we're talking about Tate, Martin Luther King, and Adolf Hitler, or even if we're talking about Jesus Christ, right? There is this dynamic at play. Okay, so if we think about Tate, there's going to be a vision for the future. There's a vehicle to get there, a unique mechanism, and then there's the charismatic leader, the man himself. So there's have-yots and have-nots. The matrix is closing in. There's the unique mechanism, which is his programs and his mindset, etc. And then there's the charismatic leader, the man who has those lifestyle achievements, the Bugattis, kickboxing world titles, etc. When we think about the Nazi Party in 1930s Germany, there was a vision for a strong Germany united. Right after the Treaty of Versailles, Germany was decimated. He created a vision that the average German, or at least the average like non-Jewish German, could get behind. Okay, it was a vision that galvanized support and that they could strive for. Okay, he had a vehicle for them to get there through like law reform and through annexation of different countries, etc. Right? We don't need to get dark with the history. And then there's the man himself, who was the charismatic leader, who like undeniably was a powerful speaker. Okay. Further, there was background of his like involvement in World War One. He was considered a war hero at the time. Okay. So these three elements, if you learn how to frame yourself in this way, is extremely powerful. And if you're familiar with figures like Andrew Tate or even a Wes Watson, you'll see that this is what they do in the big picture across all their marketing. They have a vision for the future where the prospect can see themselves in that future having benefited from their process or their unique mechanism. They position themselves as this charismatic leader, somebody that the viewer would naturally aspire to be like. And then they have a process in which the viewer or the audience member can follow in order to become like them, essentially. Okay. Charismatic leader, though, by the way, it's not about being like the ultimate kind of like flex lord or like kind of a caricature of Andrew Tate or a caricature in any sense. Really, what's so important about this charismatic leader piece is this hero's journey. So, arguably, I would say that a lot of people wouldn't follow an Andrew Tate if he didn't express aspects of his hero's journey, like the background that he came from, being from like Luton in England, like a pretty deprived area, single mother household, etc., all that sort of stuff. This hero's journey is what builds connection with your audience. So we do want to be positioned as an authority, but it's once we are established as an authority, it's extremely important to get this relatability across. So if you're like a dating coach, for example, it's really important that your audience sees not just that you're good with women now, but you used to not be that way. Because otherwise, they wouldn't follow in your footsteps, they wouldn't follow your process. When we think about political figures, Even like Donald Trump, right? There's Make America Great Again. That's a vision for the future. There's the charismatic leader himself as a powerful speaker, right? But also as a basically a billionaire, right? Like the American dream personified, right? And then further regarding like the character flaws or hero's journey, he sounds just like me. He's not like different politicians, and he's being politically persecuted, and that created deeper connections. So it's not just the flex of authority, but it's some of these like relatability points that create deep, deep connection. So that covers the big picture. What I'm going to cover now is how to actually implement this on social media, how to actually implement this in real life. What are your actual action steps? Okay. So in this document here, this is all part of the launch and scale battle plan. So in this, you enter your details here, and I go through all of these steps in nitty detail, exactly how to implement all this stuff now going into the new year. But coming back to this, so we talked about vision for the future, charismatic leader, and the vehicle to get them there. The vehicle to get them there, in your case, as an online coach, is going to be your program, your processes, your unique mechanism, or your big idea. Okay, coming down here. Now, how do we get then? How do we get your prospects bought in on a lot of this stuff? Well, it's twofold. One is going to be in your mid funnel. We want to have a piece of content that does go through your hero's journey. This is going to show your prospect not only that you're that authority that has achieved the thing that they want, but that you've been through many of the same trials and tribulations that they're currently experiencing. So if they're currently facing those problems, you have solutions that can help them with those very same things. So not only have you achieved what they want, but you've been through the same issues. So there's that relatability and authority. Okay, so extremely, extremely powerful stuff. But further, using your Instagram stories is an incredibly powerful way to position yourself as that leader. Okay. Reason being is from like propaganda psychology, consistency is super, super important. Okay. So this honestly, it's a little bit dark, but it goes back to insights from the Nazi party in 1930s Germany. Okay. So Joseph Goebbels was a propaganda minister behind the rise of Hitler, essentially. And he realized that if the average German reads a newspaper once a week and that's the only time they're getting indoctrinated, it's just not enough frequency to ultimately pull the average person into their worldview. And it's the exact same in marketing, right? We want frequency with your prospects. And one of the best ways to do that is going to be in your Instagram stories. The Nazis realized that just infrequent propaganda in newspapers wasn't going to be enough. So they had a national program to get a radio into every single German home in the country, because with those daily broadcasts, they could hammer consistent, just repetition, repetition, repetition. You've probably heard it's a quote that's attributed to Joseph Goebbels that a lie repeated 1,000 times becomes true. In our case, we're not going to be lying, we're not going to be toxic, or we're not going to be dishonest, but consistent messaging is super, super important. Think about it from the 2020 period, let's say, right? Safe and effective, safe and effective, safe and effective. With that repetition, at a certain point, it just kind of sinks into the subconscious, and people think, yeah, this is the guy I would follow. Okay. So, really, really powerful. Further, think about it like this. Your Instagram stories, whether you've got a large following or a small following, your Instagram stories, the people that view that content, they are your like true fans. They're the people that know, like, and trust you most out of your audience, typically, because they're checking in and watching your stories every single time. So whether maybe you put out a reel and it gets like 5,000 views, or it gets 1 million views, and maybe you put out a story and it only gets 500, those 500 people are so much more deeply connected, and it's the same 500 people that will see your story basically every single time. Okay, so that allows you to just repetition, reinforcement, show yourself as that leader, build the authority, and also that relatability. Okay, so really, really powerful, really, really crazy powerful stuff. Think about it if you were a preacher in a church. If 200 people, 500 people showed up to your mass, not every Sunday, but every single day, Okay. Yeah, you might be tempted to get on the radio and reach more people, but it's that consistent group. They're going to be the ones that will like just throw money at you. Okay. That's going to be your loyal audience. And if you've ever heard the idea before of 1,000 true fans, so you need like, it said as a craft person, like own, like business owner, personal brand, author, etc. If you have like 1,000 true fans, you can make like 100 grand a year. In our case, we're talking about high ticket pricing. So an author sells a book for like $5. We're going to be selling coaching for $5,000 minimal. So the income here is really, really significant. And your stories are a really, really powerful way to create that deep, deep cult connection. Now, I go into all of this further in the Launch and Scale blueprint. I go through exactly what to show in your stories, how to make this actionable, and some different steps that you can put into play here to start executing on this like immediately. We're talking tomorrow, this week, and into the months in future. And your Instagram stories, again, these are some of your most warm audience. If you're doing this process consistently, like really every day, you're going to have 200, 300, 500 people, however many people watch your stories, like 90% of them are going to be your like most true fans, your most loyal following. And that is going to be the cult like audience that will just be the easiest people imaginable to convert on sales calls. Okay. So, again, to get access to this, you can click the link below and get access to the full documents that I'm going through here. This is the Launch and Scale battle plan. In here, we go through everything from how to go viral, how to build your high ticket offer. I go through examples of clients that have done 100K a month or 30K a month, or even 10K a month with a smaller audience, or 70K a month. I go through the exact case studies, what we implemented with these clients. I go through how to actually build a premium high ticket offer and charge 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand per client. So if you don't even have a high ticket offer already, I cover exactly how to do that in this document and inside this series. I also cover messaging, positioning, and the sales process. So really your battle plan to scale to 30K months and beyond in 2026 is just a step away. All you need to do is enter your details here. And these videos in this series is going to be emailed to your inbox along with the document. Okay. So with that being said, man, I will see you on the inside. Peace and have a good one.